looking for, and those guys like really come off the ball. You can see that from their stance, it all generates from the bottom. And so we really want to really focus on those hips, and this exercise really helps us just kind of loosen up that area. In the trenches, it's tough in there, so we really want to maintain our strength all season long. So we have a machine that we use that really like reduces like the stress on the low back. Pit shark also helps with like range of motion like on our chest area. So like I'll have Caesar hop up, he'll show you this exercise. We kind of combo this with a chest and a squat, and as you can see, there's no stress, there's no pressure like on the low back. He'll get real deep in here for the shoulders, and we really want to work just that range of motion again. For football, like everything is about being flexible, being strong, having a great like range of motion, and as you can see, there's really no stress on the low back. All right, so we're not loading the spine here. Everything is really kind of loaded at the hips. And so just another piece that we can use in season, and from there we'd go straight to I can push up from here. And so like with this exercise, it really kind of reinforces again like our hand placement, elbows, depth. Also we get range of motion, we get core strength, everything that our O-line and our D-line needs is kind of added into this one machine. In the trenches, it gets nasty again, so we have to be able to manhandle guys. And so our number one exercise to do that is the bench press. So we combo our bench press also with our dumbbell bench press, but our first exercise, bench press, I'll have Caesar hop in right here. He'll show you, first we really focus for our O-line, D-line, again, hand placement, elbow placement. That's so key through every exercise that we do. So the most common mistake is that most young guys will bench out here, okay? Too wide. You can't play the game out here, you can't strike anyone out there. So we really try and reteach our guys here just about hand placement and the bench press for the sport. So we'd always have a spotter, hands are in tight, elbows are in, we control it down, and we have speed up. Nice control down, elbows stay in. They're not sucked into your body, but they're not out at a 90 degree, okay? Perfect elbows, he explodes up, he'll get one more rep, make sure he goes straight up, and the spotter will always help him get back in the run. We love to use the sled because it teaches power, pad level, and just all out nasty toughness. And so what we'll do, we'll show you, we'll drive 5 yards, we'll rip, we'll kind of show you what our D-line guys work on, and you can see that translate onto the football field. So we'll drive 5, we'll rip off 5, we'll plant, we'll retrace, and then we'll come back through 10. Our final exercise, and no, we're not going to drive it, we're going to actually push it. O-line. It's a very nice position down in the trenches, and so as a team that takes pride on just smashing the ball, then this card is what we use. We'll drive this 20 yards, drive it, head up, chest up, run block basically, if you will, okay? So we'll drive it for 20, then you'll see a stop, plant, kick, slide back. So we try and put everything in to one type movement. Hit. As you can see, one nice, concise exercise. Like we load the weight up, sometimes we put weight in the back of the cart. Sometimes I'll steer it right, steer it left. But the whole gist of it, be a tough guy down in the trenches.
On an overcast, rainy day in the state capital of Texas, the men's tennis team of the University of Texas is back in action. The number 13 ranked Horns hosting the Division II Falcons of the University of Texas of the Permian Basin. Sunday Night Tennis on Longhorn Network. Late afternoon sun is peeking through the clouds here in Austin at the Pinnock Allison Tennis Center. The number 13 in the nation, Texas Longhorns, are hosting the Division II Falcons from the University of Texas at Permian Basin. Hi, everyone. I'm Grant Boone, along with former Longhorn John Wiegand. A really frustrating day today. Earlier, if you were with us, you may have seen that Texas was playing number 23 in the nation, Tulsa. The rain came. It got rained out. And, John, then all of a sudden the clouds broke, and here we are.
Very difficult afternoon, as you said, particularly for the Texas players and their head coach, Michael Sinner. They were really excited to have the University of Tulsa here to play a match. University of Tulsa's 23 in the country, a chance for a good win, help prompt their ranking, as they move further into this outdoor season.
Let's show you some of the action from earlier today. Before the rains came, you had number 13 Horns, number 23 Golden Hurricane in the number 2 doubles match. Daniel Whitehead and Ben Chen with a big win. And then to clinch it, Alex Hilliard and Sudanwa Sitaram to give Texas the doubles point. And things were looking good until the rains came.
The rain has just killed us this year.
That's Coach Michael Sinner talking about the last 10 days. It has been a very much of a stop and start experience for the Longhorns. When you think about a couple of matches flat out canceled, the one against Nicholls State, the one today against Tulsa, and then some other ones they had to move indoors.
Very difficult for this Texas program. They were just finding their rhythm here at home in the outdoor season, and they had to move one of their matches against San Diego inside to Houston, start singles first. They had to play Florida State inside in Houston, again start with singles first, come home, play a tough match against the USC Trojans, and then they miss an opportunity altogether to get a quality win today against Tulsa.
Well, let's talk about what tonight's matches mean for both teams. It's a Division II school. It's a first-year program that Steve Buck is leading up in Odessa, Texas. Texas versus UT Permian Basin. On paper, it's a decided mismatch. But as we look a little deeper, what is each team trying to get out of tonight's matches?
Well, Grant, from the Texas perspective, they're going to have all sorts of guys get match time today. And so that's really an opportunity for a lot of these guys to work on different aspects of their game that maybe in matches they wouldn't normally have the opportunity to improve upon. And from the Permian Basin side, these guys are excited to come here and play a top-notch Division I program. So it really seems like coaches helping coaches. Coach Sinner here at Texas helping put Coach Buck's team on the map.
In the parlance of March Madness, which is ongoing, this is kind of like a 16 versus a 1, but you just never know. So we'll see how it goes. We are going to start with singles first because of the threat of more inclement weather. It is Texas versus Texas Permian Basin. Singles matches when we come back to Austin.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance invites you to register at datewithagreat.com for a VIP experience with Texas legends Quan Cosby and David Thomas. Date with a Great is exclusively brought to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, where moments worth covering are never accidents.
Mom, no, I'm not in a cabana in Tampico. I'm at Taco Cabana eating shrimp Tampico. Yes, it's very good. Well, they marinate them right here in ancho and chipotle spices, grilled with garlic, lime, and cilantro with cheese and a quesadilla. Yeah, I know, it sounds like something you get in Mexico. Mom, no, I don't need a passport. All right, okay. All right, I'll have a safe flight back. Okay, love you, bye.
Now, a home for all things UT, Longhorn Network. Put your eyes upon Texas and show your pride. Get the gear now, available at longhornslimited.com and the Stadium Store.
Augie Garrido is the most successful coach in college baseball history.
Been in it 43 years.
After 5 career national championships and over 1,800 wins, no one talks winning baseball like the coach of the Longhorns.
And I like to look at baseball as not one 9-inning game, but 9 rounds of boxing.
From the studio to the diamond. Get closer to Texas baseball than ever before. Game Plan with Augie Garrido, Wednesday at 7 on Longhorn Network. Longhorn Network is your only source for Texas spring football practice. The nation's #3 recruiting class is official, and the early signees are on the field. Get your first look at the team with exclusive on-field coverage and updates from the coaches.
This year, we want to go back and work toward winning every game.
This is your chance to preview the future of Texas football now.
1, 2, 3. Texas!
Spring football practice live Tuesday at 4 on Longhorn Network.
Put your eyes upon Texas baseball.
Legendary coach Augie Garrido has yet another loaded Longhorn squad.
It's the most successful college baseball program in the country.
With a deep stable of pitching talent and an imposing lineup full of tough outs, the Longhorns have their sights set on a return to Omaha. Stephen F. Austin versus Texas, Tuesday at 6 on Longhorn Network.
Hook 'em.
Texas versus UTPB. Grant Boone, John Wiegand with you. As the rain that wound up ultimately canceling the matches against Tulsa has, at least for the moment, moved on. And you see the wind still whipping the flag. There's Coach Steve Buck talking to Meliton Morales, his #1 singles player at UTPB. John, earlier today we talking about Vince Westbrook and Tulsa. I want to ask you about that in just a second. First, let me show all of you what's happening today. No doubles because of the rain and the threat actually of some more rain a little bit later on. So 6 singles matches, each match worth a point. First to 4 points will win this match. And so you don't have the 3 doubles matches at all. You know, Vince Westbrook really built the Tulsa program from scratch. Steve Buck literally is starting a program that hasn't been there for the last quarter century.
You're right, Grant. Coach Buck has unveiled an entirely new sport out there at UT Permian Basin. So they're very excited to kick this off. I think this is this the first new men's tennis program in the state of Texas in the last quarter century?
Yeah.
That is awesome. Hats off to Coach Buck for creating a men's tennis program when countless schools around the country are considering shutting them down.
Well, his counterpart, Michael Center, was part of a program that shut down Kansas. Take a look at singles matches 4 through 6. You mentioned this in the open. Some of the players who may not get to play on a regular basis are in action today. Jacoby Lewis has played off and on this spring, is in the #4 spot today, and it's already been a good day for Alex Hilliard. The matches against Tulsa were canceled, but he played really well.
Had a good start in doubles and then got off to a good beginning first set in singles. And then we also see Chris Camelone rounding out the 6th spot.
Ben Chen is going to play #1 singles for Michael Center today against Meliton Morales, David Hollander, and Alvaros Cifuentes, and Joey Swaisland on Austin Fowler. We're underway in singles match #1. That is Morales for the Falcons. Both decked out in black today.
Good solid play from Meliton to begin his service game.
You know, Ben, as you're looking at him there, is a former high school teammate of one of the Falcons players, Joshua Loop. Loop is not playing singles, but those two guys played for Klein Collins High School in Spring, Texas, right there in the Houston area. So some old high school teammates getting to renew acquaintances.
Comes back full circle. I'm sure they're appreciating the opportunity to catch up and see each other again.
Here's Morales a chance to get the first game against Ben Chen. He'll have to wait. Chen teamed with Daniel Whitehead in #2 doubles and played well. They won their match. He dropped the first set in rather decisive fashion to Grant Ive of Tulsa earlier today. Lost 6-1. They were in the second set. He was playing a little better when the rains came.
It really did look like he was starting to gain his footing out there when the rains came, and obviously everybody lost their footing. Yeah. So double fault there by Meliton. Gives Ben Chen the first break point of the match. But from the players' perspective, as much as they're disappointed about not having the opportunity to finish what they start against Tulsa, it's in the past now, Grant. They have to go out here and compete as best they can and line them up and play ball against UT Permian Basin.
Deep on the first serve.
Backhand goes wide for Morales. Ben Chen with the first break.
So Morales had a game point. Couldn't finish it off. And a chat with his coach. He drove the court 2. Alvaro Cifuentes in the near court against David Hollander.
David already up a quick break, 2-0. Cifuentes to serve, down love 15. Good service action there from Alvaro. Very smooth looking motion.
With a challenge of finding guys like Cifuentes there from hither and yon. You're starting a program from scratch, and you're, I guess, looking everywhere for whomever you can get.
Early foot fault call there by Mike Flynn in the chair. Good early offensive attack there by David Hollander. And Grant, we talk about finding players to fill a brand new roster. Coach Buck has 16 active players on his roster, but 5 of the 6 singles players today all hail from El Paso. El Paso has several high schools that are very into high school tennis. So I think some of these players are really encouraged to play college tennis out there in West Texas.
El Paso was the yon to the hither that he was searching. And you see the breakdown for the Falcons. A couple of transfers. Steve Buck coached at University of North Texas. Played there. Said he played against your dad here at Texas.
I think so. Back in the early 70s. He recalled a great battle they had. He wouldn't tell me who won or lost.
Yeah.
I think that bodes well for my father.
Just that it was great. And getting greater as each year goes by.
It's like that famous old fish you catch. Just keeps growing.
Couple of breaks for David Hollander. And again, just singles, just the 6 singles. And Steve Buck was beyond appreciative for what Coach Sinner did in giving him this evening match. Knowing that he had a tough match against Tulsa earlier today, Coach Sinner understands, the challenge that Coach Buck has before him. Back on court 1, a 2-love lead for Ben Chen. He held his serve, and now Meliton Morales in the near court serving for UTPB. Nifty. Well done.
Good pop on that first serve. Move forward. Directed a forehand approach nicely, and then soft hands. Pick the Ben Chen forehand passing shot up off the ground. Good play from Morales.
Morales is one of those players from El Paso you mentioned earlier. Saves on the travel budget to load the bus up. Let's go.
Bring them all in.
A little wide from Chen. So if you're Ben Chen or any of these players from Texas, you had geared up for a top 25 matchup. Tulsa, very, very solid team. A team that knocked Texas out of the NCAAs last year. You get into it. You take the lead in doubles. 2 of the 6 singles matches saw the first set go to Texas.
And they controlled 2 other first sets that were still in play.
In. What a point.
Good mobility there by Morales.
I'm just wondering, as I look at Chin here, the mindset. Could talent level obviously in favor of Texas, but might it be a mental challenge to get back up after knowing you were playing a top 25 team, and then now that gets canceled and here you are against a Division II school?
I do. I think it's an emotional challenge, absolutely. You're very fired up, a chance to avenge a tough loss from last year. And, you know, that opportunity to avenge that loss is kind of taken away from you through no fault of your own. You know, you start the match off playing well, and this Texas team was geared up and ready to go. But the rains came and weren't able to finish the match. So,
well, Texas Permian Basin gets its first game on its side of the ledger. Morales down 2-1 to Ben Chen in #1 singles.
Longhorn Network is your ultimate source for Texas spring sports. Jump into the spring season as the athletes showcase their skills. From the serves and volleys on the courts to the sprints on the track. From the powerful stroke on the water to the action on the greens. You can follow the Longhorns here all season long. Women's rowing at noon and men's golf at 7. Saturday on Longhorn Network.
Everyone at Southwest Airlines works together for one goal: to get you where you're going. That's why we make it easy to fly nationwide. Book now at southwest.com.
UT and UTPB. While we were away, Austin Fowler picked up a game against Joey Swaysland of Texas, and so a couple of Permian Basin players are on the board. Take you out to court 6, Chris Camelone taking on Adon Arbogast of Permian Basin. Nice day for Camelone earlier in the match that was canceled against Tulsa. #1 doubles, Camelone and Hollander, albeit in a tiebreak. Mutually agreed upon tiebreak. They took down Watling and Marsland of Tulsa, #5 in the nation.
It's a huge win. I think Camelone and Hollander have to consider that the best win of their collegiate careers at this point. A team's 5 in the country they beat.
And they're no slouches themselves. I mean, they're top 40, but still.
Still, anytime you have a chance to beat a team that's 5 in the country and a team that made it to the finals of the very, very prestigious individual doubles tournament in the fall, you can hang your hat on that and be proud. And they played a very high-quality match to come up with that W.
Both teams played well. This is Camelone in the near court taking on Adon Arbogast. There's Arbogast for Permian Basin. From Odessa, Texas, University of Texas, the Permian Basin. They play in the Division II Heartland Conference, which includes schools from right here in the Hill Country, like St. Ed's down in San Antonio, St. Mary's. On the other side of the courts, number 5 singles, Alex Hilliard up big on Edgar Lascano. In fact, 3 matches are at 5-love at the moment.
It's just the kind of start Texas was looking for. You like to guard against an emotional letdown, come out and play good tennis from the get-go. Maybe if you get up a break or up a set in a break, you have an opportunity to try some different things out that you wouldn't normally try. Defense there by Chris Camelon.
Give me an example of what because you're not talking about between the legs, behind the back, crazy trick shot.
No,
give me an idea of what you mean.
Well, take this example right here, Chris Camelon. He's someone who depends on his legs, his speed, his athleticism to counterpunch quite a bit. But he volleys so well, and he's such a good doubles player. I'd like to see him serve and volley some on his own serve, first and second serve. I'd like to see him chip and charge, attack the second serve and come in. Things that maybe you're not quite as comfortable doing in a really big stage. But in order for Chris Camelon to continue to advance as a tennis player, he needs to make those part of his everyday arsenal out there.
So a set point here.
Another good look at the junior from the St. Stephen's Tennis Academy right here in Austin. Wearing his characteristic hat backwards.
So the first set in these 6 singles matches goes to Texas's Chris Camelon in singles match number 6. Texas and Texas Permian Basin from the Pinnock Allison Tennis Center here in Austin. More in a moment.
In Austin, Texas, we really are changing the world. Each year, people from every state and more than 20 countries come here to change their lives. They're coming to St. David's Healthcare. 2,000 doctors and more than 7,000 employees, all with one simple vision: to be the finest care and service organization in the world. It's the #1 choice for mothers and a leader in heart, brain, and emergency care. St. David's Healthcare, exceptional care, top quality doctors, leading the charge in Central Texas.
His tours with the greatest events in modern history. Now, experience one more time the thrill, the music, the legend that is immortal. Michael Jackson, the Immortal World Tour by Cirque du Soleil. Friday, June 15th at Frank Irwin Center. Tickets on sale now at CirqueDuSoleil.com.
Texas versus Texas Permian Basin from here in Austin. Grant Boone, John Wiegand get you out to court 4. And in the far court, Jacoby Lewis letting it rip against Anthony Ellsworth of the Falcons. And right on cue, Jacoby Lewis finishes off the first set. So a couple of 6-love first sets to Texas. Camelon in court 6 and Jacoby Lewis in court 4. Couple of Falcons players have scratched out some games. We're at 5-love here in court 2 with Hollander against Cifuentes.
Grant, you see what David Hollander is doing out here is he's doing exactly what we talked about. David is an attacking player, but typically you don't see him serve and volley much. So he's played 3 points in this game now, and all 3 have been serve and volley points. This is the kind of thing you like to see. See a Texas alum.
Down on my knees here. The guy's got the camera on. We can't run this.
Former Texas alum, Kelm D'Amico, or former Texas player, Kelm D'Amico, with Coach Buck, UTPB.
In the Texas Tennis Coaches Hall of Fame. Been at it a long time. high school coach in Midland for many years. As I said, coached at North Texas, played there.
51 points, 8 covers.
So another 6-love first set for Texas. David Holliner taking care of business.
He's in Houston. Yeah, I bet he's is he with one of the majors down in Houston?
He's one of the big ones. I'm not exactly sure which one.
Yeah.
Not all of it's tennis specific talk down there from the coaches. A little catching up as well.
Jacoby Lewis with the put away on court 4.
Jacoby is one of the best athletes Texas coach Michael Center has had. I'm going to go ahead out there and say it. Yeah, I had a chance to practice with him the other day, and it's pretty tough to get a lob over his head or a drop shot that bounces twice in front of him. He is very fast, very strong, and leaps incredibly well. All great attributes if you're a tennis player.
Athleticism is in his blood. His father, Walter, was a quarterback at Alabama, the last quarterback for legendary coach Bear Bryant. Or number 10 for the Crimson Tide. And Jacoby's very careful to whom he tells this. But he said, I'm still a Tide fan when it comes to the gridiron. I'm burnt orange everywhere else. But how could he not be? His father, a terrific quarterback. First African-American quarterback at Alabama to start. And as I said, Bear Bryant's last quarterback.
Grant, I think we may have just blown the cover on that story there.
Right. Just make sure you don't tell anybody.
That's right. Keep it to the audience here on the horn.
Back to court 1, Chen and Morales.
Passing shot there by Ben Chen. You know, Grant, as we look down the Texas schedule, this is the last of their non-conference matches. They now move into Big 12 play. So this is really, Coach Center likes to break his season up into multiple parts. You know, the beginning of the schedule is the indoor season, and then you transition to the outdoor non-conference season. And now they're in the third of the 4 schedules. You're going to move into conference play. Intensity is going to pick up. Quality of opponent picks up a little bit. It's going to be really fun several weeks for these guys. They travel and play as they play Oklahoma and Oklahoma State and all sorts of teams like that of the Big 12.
Only 6 teams in Big 12 play tennis. You see something that the Division II guys aren't used to, because you play the Lets
in Division I. Exactly.
Division I.
I think that answers a question I might have had. I guess when you play at a Division I school, you play their rules.
Now, in this particular case, it was the server who is the Division II player, and Chen, who's used to playing it, who reacted. But Morales was ready, you could tell.
It's much the same way. If you're an AL team in baseball, you go and play by the National League rules in their stadiums.
Good serve from Morales.
Ooh.
Set point here for Ben Chen.
Grant, the Big 12 promises to be a really competitive conference this year. I think nearly every team in the conference believes that they have a chance to to win a conference title. So it'll be really important for these Horns to have a good start to their conference. They have Oklahoma and Oklahoma State coming to Austin in about 2 weeks' time.
Well, Ben Chin finishes off Meliton Morales, and now each Texas player has won the first set against his Falcon opponent.
Spring football around here is like no other place because it's just another season.
After grueling practices, the Horns are ready to showcase their skills in the spring game. This is your first chance to witness next year's dynamic offense and hard-hitting defense.
We need to go back with the attitude that we're going to win every game.
Plus, Texas Game Day will break down who can make an impact on next year's team before the spring game kicks off. The annual Orange and White Spring Game, Sunday, April 1st at 2 on Longhorn Network. Longhorn Extra is the place to get your daily dose of Texas sports.
The eyes of Texas, the eyes of the nation are on this Longhorn program.
With the latest scores, highlights, and analysis, plus first-hand interviews with UT coaches and players.
Every night we try and win the rebound battle, so I think that's got to be one of our goals.
Breaking news, we got it. Injury updates, we got it. Players to watch, we got it. Longhorn Extra, weekdays at 10 p.m. exclusively on Longhorn Network.
Put your eyes upon Texas softball.
Ace pitcher Blair Luna anchors a dominant staff full of powerful arms that rack up the Ks all season long. While the big bats of Courtney Craig and Lexi Bennett lead the Longhorns' explosive offense.
High and deep left field, and it's gone.
Another thrilling season of Texas softball is underway.
Texas!
New Mexico versus Texas, Friday, March 30th at 5 on Longhorn Network.
Back at the Pinnock Allison Tennis Center on the UT campus. Take a look at the matches in progress, and as we said going to break, each of the 6 Texas players has won his first set. And a couple are well on their way, like Chris Camelone, yet to surrender the game. And let's get out there. Court 6, Camelone and Adon Arbogast. Arbogast, whichever you prefer. Talked to Adon before the match. And he and the rest of the Falcons players were sitting in the Players Lounge, the University of Texas Players Lounge, which the Longhorns had graciously allowed them to invade. And they were... Arbogast was aghast. He was looking around and just saying, wow. What a place this is. You look at all the trophies on the wall. You look at the memorabilia from all the great matches. Look at the great players.
Yeah, we call it the All-American room because of all the All-American whose portraits are up there, men's and women's. And there are quite a few players who went on to have professional success. As we see Camelone jump around that forehand and a good passing shot up the line.
Camelone sneaking a peek at some of the other action to his left on courts 4 and 5 in that order in terms of proximity to him over there on 6. Just 3 games surrendered by Texas players combined. 3 of the matches were 6-love. 3 others were 6-1.
See here, Chris Camelone is a Texas and Austin native. Went to the highly touted St. Stephen's Academy. Very high level college preparatory high school. Also had a very high level tennis academy. TCU's current head coach, David Roditti, was the co-director there with Meredith Geiger Walton, who is currently the head women's coach at William and Mary College, the College of William and Mary, pardon me.
There's Coach Center. Really interesting situation that we had earlier today with the Tulsa matches being canceled. You had Texas and Tulsa both really needing a top 25 win. Both of those teams were hoping to get a win over the other because of what it would do for their national rankings. And you had Texas up 1-0, having taken the doubles point. They had won 2 first sets. Tulsa had won 1 first set. Texas was up a game away from taking the first set and 2 others, and the last of those was in a tiebreak. And Tulsa had an evening flight to catch. You're talking about hundreds as we go to court 4 to see Jacoby Lewis in his match with Anthony Ellsworth. You're talking about trying to rearrange tickets, plane tickets, and let's not forget, if you try to go to tomorrow, you've got all the people from South by Southwest who are leaving Austin. Virtually every plane ticket is gone. Every seat is filled up on flights out of Austin tomorrow.
And the only other option for transport out of Austin city limits would be an 8-hour car trip back to Tulsa. And with them being currently in the middle of their spring break, at the end of their spring break, they can't afford to miss classes tomorrow. So I think after much consternation, Coach Westbrook decided to pull the plug. That they might have to skip out on the rest of the match, which was too bad really for both teams.
It is too bad because while Texas was up 1-0, it wasn't as if their advantage was so dramatic that they were on the precipice of clinching and winning the matches. There was a ton of tennis to go, and really there weren't a lot of matches that were decidedly in favor of one guy or the other. In fact, really the only one that was like that was in favor of Tulsa, Grand Ive.
That's why you really hate to see weather kind of dictate these sort of plans. It's very difficult to go against the will of Mother Nature in some situations, and today was a good example.
Let's scoot over to our right. To court 6. The arrow points left, but moving to our right. Camelone and Arbogast.
Grant, though, to your point, to continue kind of our discussion on Tulsa and the weather impacting play, that's why Texas has really made a concerted effort to put together some fundraising and to build an indoor facility. They actually have broken ground on a facility.
January, I think, is when the project will be completed, hopefully.
Next January, correct, January of 2013. It's going to be out at the UT Golf Course at Steiner Ranch. They had some alum come together and some alumni come together and put some money together and are graciously able to put together a tremendous facility which will greatly aid this team in hosting national caliber events.
Well, this facility, the Pinnock Allison Tennis Center, is terrific, obviously. But when you're a program that is among the winningest in the history of collegiate tennis, it's just something you need. It just is. I mean, you think about what they had to do last week, and you look at Coach Center and what he's meant to this program, following up David Snyder, the legendary, nearly 30-year coach here. Before him, they had to go down to Houston to try to get in these matches against Florida State, against San Diego.
Absolutely, Grant. If you look around at the top tennis programs in the country, you've got the Georgias. Georgia has a tremendous outdoor and indoor facility. They're able to host the NCAAs in May because in the time of inclement weather, they're able to move things indoors. If you look at Virginia, they host several big national events each year. They have an indoor and an outdoor facility. If you look out to the north, Tulsa, a team that Texas was trying to play earlier, they have the terrific Michael D. Case Tennis Center, indoor and outdoor facility. So to really compete at that level and to be able to host these premier events, you do need an indoor facility as well.
Adon Arbogast fights off a match point, gets it back to deuce here. It's Camelone in the far court, and now another match point. You're talking to Coach Westbrook as we were trying to hopefully fight through that weather delay, ultimately what became a cancellation. He was saying you get sucked into thinking because you're geographically, you're a southern team here. You don't need an indoor facility. And Coach Center has found out this spring, just this month, last couple of weeks, how much they could really use one. Match point number 2. And there it is. The first point for Texas. Chris Camelone, Love over Adnan Arbogast. First team to 4 will win this dual match, Texas and UTPB. And Texas is up 1-0.
The 85th running of the Texas Relays is on Longhorn Network. Junior long jumper Marquise Goodwin and sophomore sprinter Allison Peter headline an elite Texas program looking to leave its mark on one of the nation's premier events.
Texas wins it.
The top athletes from around the country, from Olympic hopefuls to rising amateurs, sprint to Austin for 4 days of heated competition. The Texas Relays, March 28th through March 31st on Longhorn Network.
Good morning, sunshine.
Spring is in the air. Lowe's, never stop improving.
Just moments ago, Jacoby Lewis in the near court. Slice backhand carves up Anthony Ellsworth. And Jacoby Lewis, a couple of donuts. And Michael Center's team moves to within 2 more wins of taking this dual match.
Coach just sitting back, relaxing, enjoying the view.
Talking to Vicky Wright, the head of the officiating crew here with the ITA. Makes her home in the Austin area. Court 2.
Court 2 finds David Hallner up a set in 5-love.
Alvaro Cifuentes. Texas leading this dual match 2 points to none.
Passing shot there by Cifuentes. Again, though, you like to see the guys not afraid to expand on their games. Lose a point here or there for Texas. David Hallner embracing the idea of improvement this evening.
Hollander using all 6 feet 4 inches. Put that one away. And now 3 points make it 2 points from the match. And now a couple of match points. Texas up 2-0 and a couple of points here from going up 3-zip. That's wide. And 6-love, the final score. David Holliner over Alvaro Cifuentes of University of Texas of the Permian Basin. So now Texas just 1 point away from clinching this match. As we understand it, they will keep going. Even if Texas were to get to 4 points quickly. And they are close. Over to court 5. Alex Hilliard, Edgar Lascano, Grant Boone, John Wiegand, and joined by a special guest, Daniel Whitehead, who gets the night off. Well earned. Although it was, you got a big doubles win, Daniel. Right. How frustrating was today to see the rain come?
Oh, right, of course. Yeah, I mean, it was a match that we were all looking forward to play, especially after the way it ended with them last year.
Yeah.
So I feel like we were all on the same page that we wanted to get that match done. But, you know, can't really control the weather. You just got to roll with it.
It's a lesson you guys have unfortunately learned the last 2 weeks or so.
Right.
Being tossed down to your native Houston to play a couple matches indoors down there.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
What does that do to disrupt your flow? Because you guys were just seemingly getting into the rhythm of playing outdoor tennis and getting back to your comfort zone. Then to drive down to Houston, battle some traffic, play at the Met down there, very fast courts. What did that do to you guys in your rhythm?
You know, I mean, threw us off there for a little bit. We took a loss to San Diego that was unfortunate, but you know, we played well against Florida State, and we were playing well out here against Tulsa, and it's going well in the second match as well.
You had a heck of a match against Cliff Marsland in your singles. He broke you at 5-5, so he's up serving for the match, and you break him back, and then you go to a tie break when the rains come. Tell us about that match. It looked really competitive.
Yeah, I felt like the quality was really high.
Yeah.
I felt like I was playing well, and you know, he's a good player.
He is.
So you know, I felt like I did a good job to get back to a tiebreaker there, but you know, I wish we could have finished that set and kept playing.
Tell me what your teammates are thinking here in a match like this. You know, it's an undermanned opponent. It's not just a Division II school, but it's a first-year Division II school. So I would think the focus might be more on you and
right.
Let me take care of my business rather than thinking more about the opponent.
Right, definitely. If, you know, if someone's working on a certain part of their game or something they're really trying to develop, they can take this opportunity to really just implement what they've been practicing on in a match situation.
We had a good opportunity here, Daniel, on court number 2 to see David Holliner try to serve and volley some more. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Here we have Alex Hilliard, number 5, with another match point, another chance to close out his match against Lascano.
Alex Hilliard has a very good dual match record in singles, so this will just add to that.
Alex and Saddam was kind of a different option to throw in there at number 3 doubles today. They played pretty well, though, didn't they?
Yeah, they practiced really well the last couple of days and playing well.
Well, that will make it official. Texas has defeated Texas Permian Basin. Hilliard with the deciding point. Defeats Edgar Lascano. 6-1, 6-love. Couple of matches still ongoing. And we'll be back to Austin in just a sec.
Longhorn Network is your only source for Texas spring football practice. The nation's number 3 recruiting class is official, and the early signees are on the field. Get your first look at the team with exclusive on-field coverage and updates from the coaches.
This year, we want to go back and work toward winning every game.
This is your chance to preview the future of Texas football now.
1, 2, 3. Texas!
Spring football practice live Tuesday at 4 on Longhorn Network.
I think the fees are extremely reasonable, and really, frankly, even if they weren't, I would stay with UFCU because I know that they will take care of my family. I mean, really, even if I went somewhere else and they said, oh, I'll give you a better rate, even if it's just a couple of percentage points lower, I would stay here because I know for the past 20 years, they've taken care of me.
UFCU, 250 free ATMs in Central Texas.
They've kept my trust.
And with that, Coach Michael Sinner records career victory number 400 All 6 of the matches have ended. And now enjoy the eyes of Texas.
Texas are upon you all the you can get away. I think you can escape.
He's everywhere. He's in the booth. He's on the court. That was Daniel Whitehead making a quick cameo. Well, maybe their pitch was the only thing that was off tonight in the eyes of Texas celebratory song. And win number 400, that was not exactly a Gatorade bath. That was more of the sprinkle. But it is career win number 400 for Coach Michael Sinner. And you played for him, John. This is a weird way to get number 400, but they all count. And there are a whole bunch before today that led to this moment.
And hopefully a whole bunch after. I know Coach appreciates these little moments, but he's excited to move forward and get ready for the conference schedule.
As you said earlier, nearly 2 weeks off before Texas is back in action. They're back here at the Pinnock Allison Tennis Center to take on Oklahoma. That'll be on Friday, March the 30th. Take a look at the scores from all 6 of the singles matches. We dispensed with the doubles because of the rain earlier. And all 6 of the second sets were won at Love. Grant Boone, John Wiegand here, and we're joined by Michael Sinner. Coach, the 400th, one of the strangest maybe, right?
It was a strange day. I obviously been following the weather, and I really thought we'd get both matches in today, and it's just one of those days where it just started to kind of mist, and we couldn't get the courts dry. I had some travel considerations. So that was really unfortunate because I really liked the way we were starting to play against Tulsa in the singles, and we were able to get this match in. We wanted to play UT Permian Basin. They're starting a program out in the UT system, and we've lost so many programs through the years in men's tennis. So to see a new program come into play and for us to be able to help them out and put them on their schedule was the least we could do.
Does that have special meaning to you, Coach, because your first head coaching job is at a place that no longer has men's tennis?
Well, there's no doubt. No doubt. I was thinking about that today when I found out Kansas was dropping their program and how disappointed I was to lose a team that I not only played for but coached for. So I'm always excited to see new teams come into play. It's a great sport, and hopefully this will spur some other schools to bring the sport back.
Coach, I remember back when I was had the privilege to play for you. Congrats on number 400 today.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you,
how many, by the way, did John personally deliver to you of these 400?
Several. John, I remember one match in particular against Nebraska his senior year where we were trying to clinch the conference championship, and the doubles point came down to a tiebreaker, and John hit, I think, 2 or 3 winners in the tiebreaker to seal that point. That helped us propel us to victory and win the conference that year. So yeah, John was a great player for us.
Let's roll those highlights. Do we have those queued up, John?
Okay. I don't know. That's too deep in the archive. I don't know if we can pull that out. It's a long time ago. Coach, wanted to get your thoughts on head into the conference schedule. I know you like to break up the year into mini seasons within the entirety of the spring schedule.
Sure.
What are your thoughts moving into the Big 12 calendar now?
Well, I was really pleased with what I saw today. I thought that the doubles, we did a nice job against Tulsa, and then to win that match at 1 doubles against one of the top 5 teams in the country, I thought was great. And then the singles, we got off to a slow start in a couple spots, but we were turning those matches around, and I think the guys left today feeling pretty good about themselves. So we do kind of break the season into segments. We kind of finished our non-conference season. We have a couple weeks now to get ready for Oklahoma, so I think we're in good position. Try to use these 2 weeks to get healthy, and we'll look forward to Oklahoma coming in here.
Yeah, and so you mentioned that just now, Coach, but these next 12 days, you get Oklahoma on March 30th, so Friday week, I guess. What do you want to see done? What needs to happen between now and then?
Well, we need to get healthy. Lloyd Glasspool's been battling some injuries. A couple other guys have had little nicks and to slow them down at practice. So I'd really like to see us get healthy and really by next week really have a really hard week of practice. We'll work on our fitness some too. Try to build some momentum so it'll start getting hotter here at the end of March and into April. In Texas it can get hot. So we want to try to be physically ready to go by the time Oklahoma gets here in a couple weeks.
Coach, congratulations on win number 400. Stay dry for the first time in a couple of weeks maybe, and we'll see you